says Labour, as I tell the federal government, and there's the finance minister to produce evidence on salary claim. Well, more stories right there. As you can see from the top, Otedola acquires additional 222 billion naira first old coal shares and now controls 26%. Orire, why we refuse to negotiate with terrorists, says there's Tinubu talking here, and it's a story that continues on from page 8 to page 12. Makinde sets up pro panel, and on page 9, Nigeria, other African countries face a six-fold security threat in 2 years, says the US Africom. Well, there are other stories right here on the front page. Minutes of open defecation. Nigeria's silent sanitation emergency. That's a story you catch up on page 19. On page 6, Nigeria mourns ex-finance minister Abubakar Al-Aji. And on page 32, landing on Delta Road. Aircraft crew still in DSS detention, says Kayamo. Now on page 9, on Met demands, resident doctors begin strike on August 10. Austrian election, we won't bow to intimidation, says Adeleke. It's a story you find on page 10. All right, let's flip on to what we have on the inside pages of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Starting from what we have right here on page 6. Pen pushing media planning committee member, daughter died in Ogun building collapse. 4 killed, soldier missing as troops clash with terrorists in Kebbi. Tension in Ogun as gunmen abduct 5 polytechnic students, and women top Edo NDLEA drug arrest. That's quite interesting. A family accuses Orbda of defying Supreme Court judgment, and on page 7, 176 Kwara captives will marry off beautiful ones and kill others, says terrorists. That's a very sad development right there, and we hope that something is done to rescue all of them in captivity across Nigeria. Now to page 8, Tinubu disbands PIC, wants Dotsima to stop acting as secretary and orders AGF to take over committee activities. Tinubu's economic reforms key to $1 trillion economy, says Yuata. EFCC warns public officials against fraudulent practices. And ADC to INEC and police, we are erasing line between states and APC. Now to page 9, where we have ADC also continuing to Tinubu saying Nigerians selected you to fight terrorists, not wrestle opposition. Article queries Tinubu's allocation of 15.13 billion naira for 39 SUVs and demands particulars. Nigeria accounts for 10.5% of Africa's cancer burden, and that's according to Shatima. Right now to politics on page 10. Insecurity, U.S. intervention in Nigeria questionable. That says that's coming from Toko Baba, ACF spokesperson. And of course on Tech Extra, Gen Z's AI now tells them what to wear. That's interesting. So I'm seeing on page 11. On page 12, how Obasanjo deceived Afenifere AD governors to win 2003 re-election. That's coming from Oshoba. And more tourists stranded as flood submerges Lagos or a Benin highway. 60 court leaders taken to Abuja and Nasarawa prison, says Adeleke. Oh, that's something right there. And now the stories will continue right here this morning. Going on with what we have on business. On page 14, ATM transactions rise at 208% to 89 trillion naira. And of course, there is more right there on that particular page. Flipping quickly through what we have on some of the other pages this morning. Talking about the page 20, the center spread. A menace of open defecation, Nigeria's silent sanitation emergency. And they're seeing 5 fixes that can work. Continue to page 21. From pride to blackout, our darkness is consuming first stack. As on page 22. Bad habits, little ways you contribute to flooding in your neighborhood. Something every Nigeria should read on page 23. And WAFCON title, the 11th one, can Super Falcons bounce back? That's something you find on page 24. That's the Vanguard weekend. All right, so let's continue with other stories that we have right here. Facing the Kaaba on page 33. Lessons from Tafeshin's sixth empowerment program using the Sadaka as a living example. Okay, continuing to page 34, we have LPDC suspends Gadzama and Ulegede over Zaki Biam case. We have arrested over 80 perpetrators of Afrophobia, says SA envoy. And Ribadu says we are crushing security threats, and that's in page 34. We have Naira depreciates to 1,410 per dollar in parallel markets. Now we have on page 36, Senate sets for 23-day probe of Nigeria's oil sector audits. And on page 37, we have Senator Adiola empowers 3,000 market women. Yeah, Senator Adiola empowers 3,000 market men and women with business grants. Now to sports on page 38. Waffle B under 20 Tony, Flying Eagles, Bata Sparrow, Ox 3-0 to Silver Final 4 Sports. Nigerian cricket star Destiny signs for Canadian Nationals Extreme 11. WAFCON 2026, Chelsea stars back Super Falcons as favourites despite shock Malawi defeat. And 2026 WAFCON, Super Falcons can do it again, says Aisha Falode. Nigeria names 14-man 14-man squad for ICC Under-19 Men's World Cup Africa Qualifier Division 2. UEFA members votes to boycott FIFA, and 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup, the Tigers begin preparations. We also have Commonwealth 2026 is bronze for Amuson as Nekwechi wins gold in shot put out there, and the Tigers begins preparation. And of course, there's a run of results for games that happened yesterday, and of course fixtures for today. All right, so that's it for the Vanguard newspaper. Now with me is the Tribune, the Nigerian Tribune paper for today, Friday, 31st of July. And of course, we have interesting stories right here on it. The center story is why we refuse to negotiate with Orire terrorists, says Tinubu, is something you find on page 3. And says they committed murder and we were ready to finish with their families. Nobody's borrowing money to pay salaries now. Pensioners are receiving their pay, and they governors should do more to, instead of building flyover where there's no numeric traffic, build roads and arteries network to really enhance the quality of life and accessibility of security agencies to penetrate those areas. That's coming from President Tinubu. Right now to other stories on the front page. On page 5, anxiety as INEC sets to publish particulars of presidential and National Assembly candidates tomorrow. To page 7, where we have something about a £746 million loan. Federal government begins payment of counterpart funding for Apapa and Tinkan ports, targets 48 months completion dates. On page 12, Oyo government sets up judicial commission to probe Orire students' abduction. And on page 3, only 1,200 medical doctors, 9 million residents in Ogun. NMA raises alarm. On page 12, Zaki Biam killing, LPDC suspends Gadzama over federal government's 8 billion naira settlement. Allegations are unfounded, it says. On page 4, Osun 2026, political parties still are called for peaceful poll. Adeleke alleges police bias, wants peace committee to intervene. Queries why arrested court members are detained in Abuja and Nasarawa. Osun APC wants arrested political thugs prosecuted without exception. On issues for peace, says power belongs to the people. Let the ballot box alone decide. INEC tells politicians. On police release Osun SSG. All right, continuing on to what we have on the inside pages. On page 3, NEDC approves 100 billion naira solar power projects, regional railway, airline to drive northeast growth. And now to what we have on page 4. At 27 years of democracy, your deputy governor calls for authority over power. Okay, and of course, on page 5, politicians stockpiling PVCs living in the past. Okay, Obedient Movement denies reports of Yunusa Tanko's removal as national coordinator. And on page 6, CBN to remit 69.45 billion naira to federal government as group profit after tax surges to 136.44 billion naira. Federal government, whose investors, financiers says stable, economy stable and ready for growth. 72% of world trade still under WTO, says Okonjo Iweala. And FCCPC engages NERC and states electricity regulators on consumer protection and cooperation. Okay, on to page 7. Okay, the story about the 746 million pound loan. Now to page 9, Governor Namadi and the MT offices at the state secretariat. Talking about Jigawa State. Okay, there are more stories right here, and on page 12, article challenges Tinubu to publish chassis numbers of 15.13 billion naira for 39 SUVs in 2026 budgets. Okay. Also on page 14, Muslims told to prioritize emotional well-being and family ties, right there. And of course, we have this one on page 16. We need greater collaboration between government, private sector, and industry stakeholders to grow entertainment in Oyo State. Okay, more interesting stories. On page 18, our freed resources boosted investment in healthcare, education, infrastructure, security in Kogi and Imo. And of course, on page 21, ECOWAS seeks accelerated reforms to raise women's representation in politics. Okay, safe termination of pregnancy, stakeholders support Ogun Assembly Bill. And Alara's 2 on page 22, stakeholders reject fresh IFA consultation, seeks conclusion of selection process. Former Tanzanian President Kikwete hails allows us education reforms. Kano delegation meets SGF, seeks release of 5 billion naira relief fund for single market fire victims. And yes, there's something right here talking about the vintage sports. I'm unhealthy rivalry with Osimhen, says Onuachu. WAFCON, Falcons in make-up break, Zambia clash, Glasgow 2026, NBF defense boxing team selection, Awazim returns to Turkey, and WAFCON, Uchebe fires up teammates after loss, inadequate club data affecting our league, says Davidson Oumi. Monza agree Atkinson Miro 7.5 million euros deal. Aomo marked 100th game with defeat. Those are stories right there, talking about the vintage sports right there. Ex-Crown coach backs Sinosho FC job. Ajibolade named Remo Stars new head coach. HA highlights importance of media department. NPFL ranked 82nd world best league. And that's an interesting one for us right there. All right, now to the back page where we have Glasgow 2026. Nekwechi wins gold. We have Waffle B, Flying Eagles whip Togo 3-0, land in semis. And of course, a 55-member UEFA body to boycott World Cups right there. And that's as much as we can take right here this morning on the newspaper review segment. We're going out for a break, and after that is the weather reports. All right, thank you very much for joining us on the interview segment this morning. Well, of course, we have something very interesting as usual to discuss this very morning, right here on AM120 in the interview segment. And the topic for the conversation is the dismissal of ADC and four other parties' deregistration suits. And yes, this comes of a major legal battle that had the potential to reshape Nigeria's political landscape ahead of the 2027 elections. And yes, of course, there's a dramatic turn in that particular conversation. The Court of Appeal has overturned the earlier Federal High Court judgment that authored the deregistration of five political parties, including the African Democratic Congress, ADC, restoring their legal status and allowing them to continue participating in Nigeria's democratic process. Now, there's a huge question right here, and we have to ask, does this strengthen Nigeria's multi-party democracy? Does this simply postpone a debate about whether political parties should meet stricter constitutional standards to remain registered? Well, of course, in case you do not know what happened, let's give you the background to everything. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has set aside the Federal High Court's judgment that had directed INEC to deregister five political parties. Now, top of that is the African Democratic Congress, ADC, the Accord Party, Action Alliance, AA, Action People's Party, APP, and Zenith Labour Party, ZLP. Now, the appellate court held that the earlier order could not stand, meaning the parties remain legally registered and entitled to participate in Nigeria's electoral process. If you remember, on the 15th of June 2026, the same year, Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court had ordered INEC to deregister the five parties after a suit filed by the National Forum of Former Legislators. The court accepted arguments that the affected parties allegedly failed to satisfy constitutional requirements relating to electoral performance under the 1999 Constitution. It also directed INEC not to allow them to participate in subsequent elections, including the 2027 general election. And of course, we know that the parties appealed immediately, arguing that the decision was legally flawed and unconstitutional. And of course, we all know how important this whole thing is. Even INEC went against that at first. And to actually help us do justice to this conversation this morning, we have Mr. Adibimpe Adilo Esquire, who is the Publicity Secretary for the ADC, that's the African Democratic Congress, or your state's chapter. Good morning this morning.
Good morning, few at home. It's a pleasure to be on the AM120 again this morning.
Well, of course, we know how the journey has been. So we're asking now the importance of this particular judgment, the dismissal. How does this sound to your ears?
Anyway, it is not about dismissal. It's about just to set this record straight. And you know that when trial court's verdict is to direct INEC to deregister five political parties based on the findings of that particular court, which some of us even earlier, I was here on the AM120 the other time. Immediately the trial court judgment was delivered, and my position still remain. And I think by the judgment of Court of Appeal, what we have, some of us and many other commentators have mentioned them, has already vindicated every one of us, because we know that in the multi-party democracy, there should be room for several political parties to participate in the process and that accumulate to whether elections or thereabouts. And when we look at it critically, we should understand that there is something behind the scene and that really propelling all these controversies. And when a court of competent jurisdictions allows several frivolous litigation like this or matter before it, it called for a kind of reflections.
Are you
And
insinuating that there are some powers that be that
of
motivating?
course. Even as somebody that just come out from law school, somebody that we were just called to bar, we understand that you can't just build something upon nothing. There were no evidence before the Justice Peter Livu court to arrive at that conclusion. You see, let me say this. The party, even the plaintiff that came to court that filed the suit in the first place, this is non-juristic persons, forum of former legislature. Do they have that local standard before the court? In the first place, the court has jurisdiction even to enter into that matter. Another question that one need to ask: did courts really evaluate all the facts, all the evidence presented before it? Because if court did evaluate all the facts, evidence before him, definitely he could have even dismissed the suit in the first place, because the umpire, the regulator, and that oversees the activities of political party has already presented their fact before the court that all these political party met the constitutional requirement to be registered.
But are you seeing links between them and maybe a political opposition for you to insinuate this?
Definitely, because along the line you can see that the way the Attorney General of Federation also intervened in the matter, joined the suit against all these 5 political parties. So if Attorney General now joined the suit, one should really understand where that controversy is coming from.
But with all those allegations you have thrown at the other parties, that's the forum of former legislators, the justice who declared that judgment at the Federal High Court, and the AGF, don't you think that this different tone means something different for the democratic process in Nigeria?
Well, the judgment of the Court of Appeal is very sound in law, and then we should understand that that judgment goes a long way, at least to set the record straight, and then to restore the order and the constitutional order, to restore the democratic order. Because in a way, if court just allow anything to come before it and then you just decide it the way you think the power that be directed, it shows that we are killing democracy little by little, and that will not allow for healthy competition among the political parties. You only, if that's say true, I think the judgment of Federal Court say true. It shows that you are giving upper hand, undue advantage to the ruling party, because the main opposition in the electoral process we are in now is ADC and some other political party. In some other states, we have Accord, we have all other political party that remain the main opposition that can really give the ruling party run for their money. So, but when you now deregister all those based on the court order, having not taken reference, making any reference to their record with INEC, it shows that something wrong somewhere.
Now, you're saying that this dismissal from the Court of Appeal is strengthening political pluralism.
Yes.
And you say Nigerians should celebrate something like a protection for democratic choice. But then if we look again at some of these parties, there are questions that we need to ask sometimes. For example, before these last couple of months, people barely knew the ADC. people barely knew across Nigeria. If you ask randomly across different states, you'll find that people barely knew some of these other parties, including the likes of the ZLP, the APP. Maybe Accord is known to some extent in the Southwest, but there are questions about the popularity. They were not amongst the top three as at the last elections. If you're looking at, what the numbers gave right there during the voting, but now we have a revival of sorts because of some individuals who have moved into these parties. How do you look at sustenance when it comes to the democratic process? Because for these people to appear on the ballot paper and ask for people to vote for them, they would need the numbers behind them if they are to contest competently out there during voting.
Let me say this. I need to correct certain impression.
Okay.
It's not true that people do not know a party called ADC.
But people
I'm coming. In Oyo State in 2018, 2019, the main and key opposition was ADC. Even in 2018, 2019, even it was that ADC that formed a coalition with PDP that gave current governor, Governor Sheyi Makinde, that victory.
A coalition with the PDP.
With PDP. It was just a kind of mistake somewhere that led to that coalition anyway. So we won't go to that. But the ADC in Oyo State becomes a household name. You can ask any politicians in Oyo State, they understand.
That's
they know.
That's in political circle.
In political circle, even among, you can see many people aware the strength of ADC. Now let me still come to you. In Kogi State, Kogi State, ADC has been presenting candidates in Kogi State, and that candidate has been winning election in person of Like Abejide. You know, Abejide is two-time House of Rep member under the platform of ADC. I don't know whether you get that. In 2023, fortunately, ADC also had two candidates. In Ogun State in 2018, 2019, at least ADC won 5 state assembly seats. And in some other states as well. Coming to limelight is because a lot of people came in, and that does not mean people do not know that ADC is on ground. Also, Accord has been on ground, and many people are aware that there is, even in Oyo State, you know, those political parties very popular in Oyo State. ZLP, it's the same thing. And there are other political parties that won seats in National Assembly that people do not even aware of, that you may think that people do not aware of. Like why Young Progressive Party and some other political parties, at least they have 1 seat at the National Assembly. So that impression has to be corrected. Many people that has nothing to do with politics may not understand, may not know. Maybe people that are going about their normal business, what have you. Now, when you look at this, when we say we are practicing multi-party system, and you do not allow others, you see, the way, when you want to practice multi-party system, you see, is all the party will not have the same strength and the strength at the same time to win national election.
Now, it brings me to the question that a lot of people have asked over time. There was a time we had quite a number of political parties in Nigeria, and the number was reduced heavily.
Yeah.
And people have asked, are we having too many political parties, so much that the ballot paper is this very...
We are only concerned about ballot paper. we should concern about.
It's not
about
just paper. Now, let me tell you what many people have asked. They have been analysts, experts, masses asking questions about how many of this see these political parties as just political vehicles waiting to be driven at any point in time whenever they want, for them to commandeer. If they have a problem in their own party, they decamp and go on to these other parties. And these are the questions that we need to ask. Should we look at a merger of some of these other political parties into one? Maybe it can be better.
Then, if you are looking at the merger or you want to reduce
the number,
definitely we are running against the provisions of Constitution, freedom of association. People should be associated the way they like.
But are some of those parties, are they fulfilling the purpose which have been set up?
Of course.
With performances?
Of course. What is the purpose of setting up a political party? It's just to contest the election. And if some of them win one seat or the other, and that's a requirement of law. It doesn't matter whether maybe even the least requirement is just to win even councillorship seats.
Let's take us through the requirements again so that we understand what the provisions are.
Now, the provisions of law, provisions of law, by Constitution says any political party that will be registered or maintained, sustained in the INEC register of political party, number one, that party must have won a seat at the National Assembly. Seat or State Assembly, or a seat at the local government elections, which is councillorship position. Now, apart from that, then that political party must have its offices across all the states and maintaining the national head office. Then, when you look at those requirements, the requirement that is very difficult to fulfill for any unserious political party. At least, when we had about 78 political parties, only 18 could sustain that requirement. Only 18. And that is why all other political parties were deregistered. So if really we want to promote our democracy, we want to give room for instance, I think we have a provision in our constitution which allow for an independent candidacy. Definitely we will not be talking about multiple political parties. But we don't have that provisions. The only organization, the only platform by which one can run from one position or the other is through political party. And with the populations of Nigeria, if truly we are so serious, if truly we really understand what politics is all about, with the population, it shows that even that kind of, and we have so many people that want to aspire for one position or the other, it shows that we still not have that enough political party.
So you think we do not understand politics?
We don't understand it.
Also.
Because if you understand the politics, we don't need to concentrate on the national elections alone. There are other political parties that are supposed, at least, to make sure they sustain themselves within their locality.
From the grassroots
level. From grassroots level. Their focus alone should be how to win local government elections.
So what has been happening in the grassroots level politically?
Because the governors, the state governors have killed that grassroots politics.
Everybody's pointing hands at the state governors.
You know why? But because when you don't allow the local government to function the way it's supposed to function, and then you don't allow free and fair local government elections, so definitely you will exclude other political. You know that many political parties don't even have interest in contesting local government election now because they know that the process will not be free and fair. and there is no way they will participate, they will win.
But that's not only governors, that's an INEC.
Hello?
If you're talking about free and fair elections,
yes.
It's INEC.
It's not INEC, it's OISEC, appointed by state governors.
OISEC is not in Ogun State or Lagos.
Every state has its own state independent.
But the INEC is the mother body.
INEC do not conduct state local government elections. It is purely responsibility, constitutional responsibility of the state independent.
Okay, so what exactly is wrong with grassroots politics in Nigeria?
What is wrong with grassroots politics in Nigeria is the way the ruling party or the sitting government handles the process. Winner, take it all.
But that's from top to bottom.
That's what we see. You see, the way you can see that when INEC conduct elections, it's very difficult for a single political party, whether you are a ruling party or what have you, at least to take all the states. If a ruling party will have large number of states, maybe after the elections, that many of these states is cross-carpeting to the ruling party. But it's very difficult. But allowing the state independent electoral commission, you understand, to conduct election, the body that are appointed by the government, the body that is being funded by the ruling sitting government, and they know that the only way to capture the entire state is by entrench themselves across the local governments that form that state. So definitely, they will always skew this process to favor the sitting and ruling party at that particular state.
All right. Well, I was going to actually, ask that why are so many Nigerians unconcerned, unbothered about, local government elections in recent years? But let's go back to that judgment that we've seen from the Court of Appeal now. Does this remove uncertainty from the 5 political parties? Does this mean that we will not have any more appeals, maybe going to the Supreme Court or anything?
Every litigant in the court of law has rights to pursue his matter to the final destination, and which is Supreme Court. When the INEC and the other political party lost at the Federal High Court, they took step further to approach Court of Appeal. Now, the plaintiff who brought the matter before the Federal Court in the first place may want to exercise their rights and approach Supreme Court. There is nothing bad in that. It is their rights, and they need to exercise it. After this appeal, if they feel that they are not satisfied with the judgment of Court of Appeal, they can approach Supreme Court, which is the final destination. So they have that right. They have that right to approach Supreme Court.
Okay, so apart from that, what implications does this have for those who are running for office, under the aegis of these political parties? What does this mean for the voters? What are the implications? Are these not distractions that we can avoid?
Well, it's not a distraction for somebody who want to lead, want to fight for one position or the other. That should not. If you truly, you are true politicians, and you know what you want to do. You see a lot of challenges like this, because from at least in Nigerian politics, you know that issue of litigations here and there, and some also element of betrayal and some other things will come up. Then you have to prepare for it. Anyone that sees this one as a distraction, it shows that that person does not know what he is trying to do. Leading the Nigerian society call for a sound mind, a strong will, and good courage. Because the society itself begin to throw a lot of things at you to distract you. But if by court litigations, and you say you are distracted, then you don't know what you are doing. So I don't see that one on the part of I don't see that one as a distraction on the part of those one that are using and using all those political platform to fight for one position or the other, if truly they really want to contest. But for the society, yes, society might not understand what is going on. You understand? But you know that our society is a society that is so that is feel indifference about what is happening in politics. They don't really. Those people that are playing that are playing the game better are the politicians themselves. They are the one initiating. They are the one facilitating. They are the one put all the process together. Our society. The electorate. If you see that electorate come out during the election to vote, you should know that out of 10 that came out to vote during the election, they are member of one political. Out of 10, you will see 8. You can be sure of 8 core politicians. Other 2 that you will see, they are the one mobilized by the politicians to come and vote. And that is why we normally experience low turnout.
All right, now let's look at something that I think we need to address, something like an elephant in the room, in my own view. I asked questions a lot about the influence, the impact of judiciary, the justice system in Nigerian politics. Elections are coming, and then the whole judiciary is very busy. Litigations here and there, appeals here and there, and everybody's working like clockwork out there. How much of an impact do you see the justice system, the judiciary, having in political matters, in the politics of this country?
It is politicians that always put pressure on judiciary during this time. Ordinarily, if politicians will follow their own rules they set, I think judiciary will be less pressured in this time around. But you see, politicians, members of political parties, they've already made their constitutions. Of course, when you see any pre-election matters now, and that we have a lot of cases in court flying here and there, is as a result of breaching the rules set within the one political party or the other. That has not to do with the process, election process at all. It has to do with the process within, the internal process within that political party. And then, if internal process have been breached, then a member of that political party has right to approach the court, to complain before the court that this process has agreed upon by this political party that I'm a member, this has been breached. Then please, court, intervene in this matter. So it is the way we've already configured our system that allow judiciary to make incursion to our electoral process. Ordinarily, if we are good people, ordinarily, if truly we normally follow a due process, definitely judiciary will not be dictating whether what is happening within one political party or the other. But we are a set of people that don't want to follow the rules.
So you think Nigerians are always looking for loopholes to...
Of course. And you can see, let me cite a very, very critical example. You see Nigerians as a set of people that even they are ready to break laws at any slighted opportunity.
Not every Nigerian.
Majority.
I don't know how you came about this, your sample size.
Let me say this. At least we have traffic lights across, even Ibadan metropolis here.
But we see a lot of people waiting at the traffic lights.
You will see a lot of people breaking that.
I know I see a lot of people who wait.
You see, when you compare the numbers of the impatient one, compare with those ones that are waiting. Ordinarily, Nigeria are not made for obeying the rules.
are not made for, or we, because I remember I've seen videos and clips from way back where a lot of Nigerians get orderly, they follow the rule of law, they are clean and everything.
And because it's that is during the military era, when the military will always, will hard on everyone to whip everybody to line, and that is when
We
yes
adults
oh
whipping
or
adults.
when you experience what happens in Haiti during the Buhari regime and the Babangida regime, you understand what we are saying. Then in society, I think the order was set, and then the brain of everybody was set as well. You dare not cross line. Then even you yourself, when you get to a particular place that you're supposed to queue up before you get to access a particular opportunity, you have to queue. And people are queuing. But go to bank today, what do you see?
I still see people in queues.
You see that when certain people queue, you see many people will just come. They just want to approach it.
I don't know about that.
So that is the problem we have.
But now they say that some people claim that the military has been politicized. Some people are saying we need a militarization of our politics. Do you think that we need maybe a semblance of military in our politics to give us, that weight on the structure? Because I think that our politics in Nigeria needs a very good structure where people are implementing and following the rule of law.
Some of us will not advocate for incursion of military again, but if you have, because under democracy you can't just behave like a dictator. Democracy involves several people coming together, forming a particular decisions, and then implement it. I think what we need goodwill. We need a strong will from individual. Even if we have somebody that is so, it's not about one person anyway. Let me put it that way. It's not about one person. It's about every one of us understanding that we need to do things right. And it starts from our various home. Start from our various residential areas. At least we have so many associations there. It starts from how you go about your own personal affairs. You see, certain people will buy land and they want to build it, have a development on it. Rather than for us to follow the town planning rules and regulations, many will not even leave setback. You see many people build shops on the setback. Because we refuse. And if a government now come and try to want to set all those things in place, then we begin to tag that government as dictatorship. A government that wants to implement law, not the kind of government we have at the center in Nigeria.
Okay, let's
I know we will not talk about that.
Let's talk about what structures we should be having in a political party that wants to serve the purpose, so that we understand what it should look like and how it should look like during the electioneering process.
You see, I want to sincerely say that among the political parties we have today, I am a member of a political party, and also I am a publicity secretary of ADC. But I want to sincerely tell us the bitter truth that everybody should care to know, is that among those political parties we have today, none of these political parties can successfully lead our society to be a sane society.
Why?
Because the way they conduct their affairs, their internal affairs, and that is what has led to several litigations. Let me cite an example in our home party. When some of us are ready to follow the rules, regulations, established norms within our political party, there are certain people that refuse. They don't want, because maybe they have already been in one government or the other. They've become their former minister, former Senate, what have you, former governor, and all those things. They don't want to kill to follow the constitutions of the party.
But some,
and that is why they plunged the party into several crises now.
But some Nigerians claim that that is the Nigerian politics.
It is not. That should not be a Nigerian politics. Nigerian politics should be what we can find that's situated within our law, our constitution, what the constitution allows.
All right. On a final note now this morning, speaking about the dismissal of the registration suit against all the 5 political parties, as the publicity secretary of the ADC in Oyo State, as well as being a lawman yourself. Let me use that word, lawman yourself. What do you think Nigerians should note?
First of all, the Nigerians should note that there is hope if we are ready to do things right. If we are ready to follow our rules, whether our rules is so harsh or what, then the only hope can come when we are ready to follow the rules and regulations we set for ourselves or we have already adopted. If we fail to do that, then there's no hope anywhere. If you say, and the judiciary is last hope of common man, definitely we are deceiving ourselves. If we ourselves, we are not ready to follow the rules, we are not ready to follow the constitutional provisions, we are not ready to do things in order. So definitely, there is no hope anywhere. The only way the hope can be is when we are ready to follow all our regulations. You see, all these political parties we have, if they will provide hope and directions for the society we have, they also should learn to follow their own rules. They should learn to follow their constitutions. They should allow the system to run, not state-managing. Because in political party, society, in government, we are state-manage, we state-manage process, system, and skew it in order to favor us,
Okay.
not to favor society. And then the members of society are suffering from that. So hope comes when we follow rules. When we refuse to follow rules, then we should not hope for any better government.
All right, I need to say thank you very much to Mr. Adebimpe Adilowo, Esquire, who is the publicity secretary of the African Democratic Congress, Oyo State chapter. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure once again.
All right.
Good morning.
All right, we take a break right about now. And when we return, our second guest will be on seats to actually follow through on the conversation again with us.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much for sticking around with us. Yes, we're continuing the conversation about the dismissal of the ADC and four other parties' deregistration suits. And joining us in the conversation as a second guest is engineer Ayodele Omogbemini, who is the public relations officer of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, or your state chapter. You're welcome this morning.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
We know that your organization, the council, actually serves as a liaison between political parties and INEC. We know that you've been looking into the matter of this case ever since Justice Peter Leifu came up with a judgment at the Federal High Court. Now, what does this new judgment from the Court of Appeal mean for political parties?
Thank you. You know, we have been around this issue for a while, and I must sincerely confirm to you that it is a win for democracy. Inter-Party Advisory Council, it's a party who mediates between political parties when there are fracas issues within them. If you notice that this case was taken to court by some lawmakers, let me say some council of former or current lawmakers who took the case. So, number one, based on jurisdiction, it is not in their purview to decide. And if you look at the merit of the case, it's obvious that how will you push? INEC has the statutory right to regulate, to control, you understand, and to decide who will be part of the body and which party will be deregistered. So, in that vein, they just want to use the hand of the judiciary to subdue the freedom each political party has with INEC.
Do you think they're trying to do that?
No, that's the purpose. That's the sub-purpose. Every political party in Nigeria today, I think we are about 21, 22. And if you have seen, initially we were about 18, 19. The order of court brought some party back, like the NDC, like the DBB, and one other political party I cannot vividly remember at the moment. So when they got, when the INEC received the order of court and they fulfill all righteousness, they register them. So there is no political party that exists that has not fully meet up with the regulation of creation. That's number one. Number two is that a political party who participated in the cycle of an election, I get what I'm saying, that participated in the election and had candidates who won in the election, you cannot deregister such a party. If not for frivolity's sake or personal interest or maybe an agenda that is not known to you and I. You understand? You cannot just go to court and say this 4 to 5 political parties should be deregistered. On what basis? You want to speak about the ADC? They have a federal rep in Kogi State, apart from the local government elections. You want to talk about Accord, you understand? And so many other political parties like that were. So to us, as a council, we see it as somebody trying to play a script that is not known to us. But thank God for the judiciary, who was able to stop the menace that would have emerged from that case that was taken to court.
At first, I thought you were just going to point at kissing fingers at the judiciary, but now that you've said thank the judiciary.
No. You know, that's the last hope we have in democracy. Although it should not be the determinant. It should not be the determinant. It's just to advise. It's just like a pendulum balancer. The judiciary.
Have they really served as a pendulum balancer? When you look at the whole framework of how political systems have run, how we've had many a time now, a lot of people feel like their influence is too much. Maybe they are the determinants because you say they should not be.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you find out that come the pre-election period, they are always very busy.
Yeah.
You know, the legal luminaries are always very busy.
Yeah.
After elections, they are still very busy. We still have
Even
cases
during the
going on.
elections.
And so, I mean, what exactly is happening here with the judiciary?
You see, the challenges is that it is a political challenge that we have in this country. The democracy we practice is not in itself democracy. Meaning, we find, politics is based on interest. You understand? So we have now turned our own version of democracy in Nigeria to a similar thing that we say, not dictocracy, but let me say autocracy. We want everything to fall in place for us. In democracy, the beauty of democracy is that we have the majority, we have the minority. The majority will have their say, while the majority will have their way, and the minority will have their say. But in a case where the majority or the minority wants to have their way, they will need the help of the judiciary. And that is why it seems as if judiciary is being used by political gladiators to subdue the purpose why we have democracy.
Being used.
Yeah, being used.
What do you mean by being used? Because, I'm looking at different cases that we have had over time. There was that long drawn battle about the Amala Convention.
Yeah.
In the PDP.
Okay.
We have had other parties have their own, like the LP, even the APC itself is not exempted from all of this.
My dear brother, you see, it is not a gainsaying if I begin to tell you that I don't understand, or even people at home watching us, they understand what I mean. But let me shed a light on it based on this discussion. A particular judge gave a judgment, Justice Lifu, that the political party should be deregistered. Number one, that is against the regulation of INEC. INEC has, okay, let me give you an instance. In the last 3 years, every year, INEC has started to check the books of all political parties, both their finance, both their meeting, both the way and manner in which they manage their internal politics. A judgment of the Supreme Court, I can't remember vividly, I would have cited that judgment. But what the paraphernalia about the judgment was that internal issues of the party should be solved within the party. Yet you just see some of the members of the party going ahead to courts to challenge the decisions of the party. So these are many more and other cases that we see. You just mentioned about Amala Convention now. There are another. The court has given a profound judgment on both, that all these things should be managed within the political party. But the challenge is that because I want to protect my own interest, you want to protect your own interest, people will definitely want to still use the hands of the judiciary. And don't forget, if you look at the image of the judiciary, it's a blinded image that is folded with wrapped off, so that it will not be tweeted into another way. But people are using their interest and their influence to ensure they hold the hand of justice, to have judgment. In Nigerian system, we have what we call judgment and we have what we call justice. So most of the issues we have at hand, when I say they are holding the hand of the justice system, is they are trying to use it to get judgment, not justice. But now, on this case, Coach Lifu gave a judgment. But now, Judge Lifu gave a judgment. But in the court of appeal, we had justice. So that's what I'm saying.
All right. So you believe that judgment is good for Nigerian democracy?
Yes.
Now, there's a very important question that many Nigerians have been asking ever since that issue came up. And it's not the first time that some of them have brought it up. Are smaller parties relevant in Nigeria's democracy?
I beg to disagree. There's no small party.
You think so?
I'm telling you. The way ADC was registered was the way APC was registered. The way Boot Party was registered was the way PDP was registered. So So there's no small party. You see, the context in which we the people give narrations to things help politicians to form opinion. If somebody had won an election in AA, for instance, a party that we call it Action Alliance, is there any, can you say because the governor is from AA, is a small governor? No. Each political party has equal rights to do what? To conduct primary and to give candidates. Now, what you will say, what you can say is the stakeholders that we have in each political party differs based on their influence. And it is true around the whole world. If you go to America where we copy our democracy, there are countries where they have there are parties where states where they have never produced a governor or talk less of a mayor. But the councillor of that ward is being produced by that political party, and there's nothing either the Democrat or the Republican can do about it.
Did you really copy from the Americans?
You know, our constitution shows that we copy from different constitutions.
Okay.
You understand? It's an amalgamation of different constitutions that we have. And that is why I said it is not the true version of the democracy that we know. Because in the democracy, the people is the center point. But today, political gladiators, political status are the center point.
Now, why I asked about some of these parties is because it looks like some of them are just there for some certain gladiators, in quotes like you've used, come to them at some point to just use them as a political vehicle to get what they want.
Okay, let me share the light.
Okay.
When we talk about political parties, there's what we call aim and objective and purpose of creation.
Exactly where I'm going.
There is no political party today in Nigeria that does not have a written ideology and a written purpose of establishment.
Is that of the ADC similar with that of the PDP?
I wouldn't have known. I'm not in their party. You understand? I wouldn't have known. But I'm telling you what I know, fundamental truths. Okay, let's take for the APC now. The APC will tell you they are progressive. The PDP will tell you they are conservative. You get what I'm saying? The PRP will tell you they are for the less privileged. In my own political party, which is Boot Party, will tell you we are the party for the future. So everybody has their own ideology of creation. So it is wrong to say or to group that, oh, other political parties, who are, in fact, can I tell you, the beauty of democracy is not the party ruling. It's about the party that are not ruling, that are checkmating the ruling party. That's the beauty of democracy.
Have we seen strong enough opposition in many of these parties there?
No, you see, when you talk about strong opposition, it's not about you willing. We are talking about constructive opposition.
Yes.
Yeah, we have been doing that. We have been speaking up. Let me give you an instance. Somebody who has a loudspeaker and somebody who is speaking without a loudspeaker. Someone's voice will be louder than each other. But we are talking about fundamental analysis and looking at issues according to what is needed. We have been speaking up. A lot of political parties, or even on behalf of IPAC, I've been on different media houses to speak up on issues that are pertaining to the people. And we will not stop doing that because we know that is our core. Sir, let me tell you, do you know that it is more difficult to survive in the opposition than even in the ruling party?
Really?
Yes, because number one, you don't have state funds to mark. Gone are the days where political parties are funded. So everything you do is based on what you earn within your means. So there's no paraphernalia of the state funds, access to public funds. You understand? The access to media and every other thing you pay through the nose. So it is not easy. So in fact, if I am to go by what I have an understanding of, I will celebrate the opposition party for existing, because if the opposition parties are not existing, the ruling party will do whatever they like and they will get away with it.
All right, now let's look at the case. I was trying to bring up the case of some people who cross-carpeted, who moved from a certain political party because of division in between them to some of these other parties. Now, you know, we're asking about the purpose. You mentioned that many of them fundamentally have all of that
Yeah.
with them. But then, does the purpose of that person, that individual who is living that place and coming through to this other party for his own selfish interest?
That was why I was telling you that our democracy in Nigeria is not the real sense democracy we are hoping for. But don't forget, USA celebrated 250 years of practicing democracy. We are still on our way celebrating about to this, is it the third or the fourth? We are less than 30 years celebrating this democracy. So you should know we are still a learner.
Well, we might
Going
still be a
forward.
learner, but you know.
No. I'm only trying to lay a foundation for you to understand what I want to say. So now, going by that, that is to tell you that there is a room for development, there is room for sensitization, there is room for intentionality. And how do I mean? Currently in Nigeria, people are only looking for platforms to win election. So they see most of the political parties as a platform, not ideological basis where they can bring up what if you see anybody now who's going for governor or president or house of rep, they'll tell you 8-point agenda. When it has been clearly stated the purpose why that party was created. It is a welfare party. It's so the welfareism of the people should be optimal. You understand? It is a party that believes in education. That should be the drive. But today you see the interest of the individual candidate, and which is wrong. So these are the discussions we are discussing, and we are looking at how we can ensure we have a constitution that will help guide so that we can improve on our politics.
How do you think we can strengthen these opposition parties in Nigeria?
Number one of the ways we can strengthen it is by every Nigerians to stop looking at opposition party as smaller parties. That's the first thing. We have to change that notion for them to know that it is the person that is behind the masquerade that blows the trumpet that determines how big or large a political party. Every political party. If I nominate a governorship candidate in my party, the governorship party is not smaller to a governorship candidate in MPN or UPN. You get what I'm saying? We are the same. That's number one. Number two is that there should be a channel of growth for each political party. And how do I mean? Apart from the people, members of the party, there should be an inclusivity in governance that will help other political parties to grow. Politics is a general thing for everybody. As much as it's a game of interest, when it comes to governance, there should be inclusivity. So when there is inclusivity, nobody will, it is not only the ruling party that will be excluded or be included in having the share of the national cake. Everybody will have a say. So when everybody has a say, there's very, very height of expectation that before you know it, height of expectation that those parties that people regarded quote and unquote mushroom party, some people will tell you they are mushroom parties. Just as if he's planting a mushroom in his house. You understand? So you begin to see people. No political party is smaller to each other. No. Every political party is being registered. In fact, let me give you an irony. Some political party had to have about 4 or 5 political parties merging together. You understand? Before the political party is being formed.
Now, talking about the grassroots, which I believe is one of the areas where we have been lacking politically across Nigeria. Some people have felt that maybe the local government elections have brought something different, not having them regularly and all of that. But I know that there was a point where a lot of people were scared about local government elections and all of that because of violence attached to it. So how much has changed talking about politics at the grassroots that we can build on? Maybe it would help strengthen the opposition.
You see, and that is why I would like to commend, despite I'm not in the political party of the ruling party, in this state, our own case is different. I will tell you the reason. In your state, it is the first time in the last 27 years, we have a cycle of local government election. Before one is ending, we had conducted another one. In fact, currently now, we are preparing for another one. And that is a very laudable achievement, effort that is made by this current ruling party, because the current government has a listening ears to the IPAC. And we gave that proposal, and it's working. And you see that has brought stability to our local government. You've not had, in the last 7 years thereabout, you have never had the conflict at the local governments. You understand? One party trying to, there have been peace. Going forward, local government local government is the closest arm of government to the people. When there's stability there, it will drastically eradicate poverty and it will promote prosperity. So we have no choice in this democracy we practice rather than to ensure that there is stability in governance in local government. Because you see, when there's stability in the local government, the councillors are elected, the chairmans are in place, you understand? The House of Assembly, the activity of the state will run smoothly. But if in the case where you have a caretaker in the affairs, a sole proprietorship, in a local government where we have more than 500 to 600 persons, and you just have maybe a secretary and few others to be appointed, there is no way that governance will reach down to the people. But if I'm a ward councillor, I can call to the house and tell the house leader that in my street there is a particular road that is not good. Oh. There's a drainage that needs to be fixed. Oh. You understand? That will be included. And as we go forward, we are entrusting that the autonomy of the local government will be entrenched. Because when that is fully in place, it is still going to increase stability for local government.
All right. Now, as the public relations officer of the Inter-Party Advisory Council in Oyo State, I would like you to speak about the work that you've done so far with the political parties. You know, the PDP, the APC. I know the PDP has had a lot of division, and a lot of people are asking questions. But let's talk about what you've done so far to ensure that we have what we are at present, and areas that you think the parties can improve on, especially those who have formed coalitions and others.
Thank you. Inter-Party Advisory Council in Oyo State has been a pace setter within the council in the whole nation. And how do I mean? We have set a pace of peace and stability in governance. And that is one of the achievements of IPAC in Oyo State, is the local government election that we have back to back. You understand? Yeah, we have our differences. You see some political parties saying they don't want, but I can tell you authoritatively, since 2022, was it 2021 or 2022, that we conducted the first primary election under this administration, I can tell you there has been increase in participation of other political parties. And the reason why there have been increase is because they feel a sense of belonging. We have been able to coordinate the political parties to ensure that we achieve greatness and the state is moving forward. Don't forget that we are in an advisory role. Although we might not have getting all we want, you understand? Because in some other states, take a look at Ogun State, for instance. There are some particular office that the IPAC executive. We nominate special advisor to the governor on IPAC, special advisor to the governor on either political matters and the likes. You understand? And so many other things. I know it's in process. In the East, there are different things where they have, okay, look at what is happening in Osun yesterday. They had to sign a pact. That was an idea of a peace pact. That was an idea of IPAC. So both at the national and at the state, we have been serving as a form of influence to ensure that we have stability. In Oyo State, when we had issues about nomination of some candidates and some people were talking down on the traditional rulers and they want to cause chaos, we came out, we spoke up, we had a press release, and we addressed all political parties, and after that you notice that the case died down. So we have our internal mechanism that we are using to manage all political parties. Yeah, like you people at home have the mindset that we have one strong party or one small party, but in our own reaction and relating with each other, we see ourselves as one body promoting progress for the country. So in that vein, we have been doing a lot to ensure that we have stability both in governance and in the political state. And you see that it's been a while that we have conflict within the states during elections.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now, on the final note, as we leave this morning on the interview segment, I'd like you to speak to the people out there at home. Those are the different places of work. I know some have got to a place of work this morning already. Let's speak to them and let them know, in the midst of everything that we have seen in the build-up to the 2027 elections, what exactly should they have at the back of their minds? What should they be thinking about?
I want to appreciate you for that brilliant question. You see, the people are the core center for governance. They own the government. Those that are in government are in for them. That's number one fact. So they play a critical role in choosing who leads them. I want to beckon to people, don't let us be myopic. And why do I say so? You know, if you look at the trend of participation in politics or in election in Nigeria, it has been dropping drastically. In Oyo State now, we have over 2 million registered voters. As at the last election, I think we had about 2.3. I don't know the figure at the moment. I know we have new registrants. By August 1, INEC is going to issue to us the register for Oyo State. And if you look at the participation in election in Oyo State, in the last general election, in the governorship election, we have about 40 to 41% of the people participating. Now, they have been selling a rumor to people that votes don't count. And this has been undermining the interest of Nigeria in participating in election. And I am bold to tell everybody today that why do you think some political parties or some gladiators, don't let me use political parties, want to influence your vote by buying it? If your vote is not counting, they will not buy. So you have to be intentional about who you vote. This is another cycle of election. Who will rule us for the next 4 years? Let us be intentional about who. This is not about any political party. Politics should be about interest and the future of the nation. So let us be intentional. Somebody who has been in government for some years, you've seen what their track record. Let their track record be the determinant. Don't allow the influence, because that has been the problem in Nigeria today.